Hello, everyone. I feel like I had to pump up this intro this time because last time Ofili told me I had a very, very somber, very calm introduction to the episode.
It fit for the movie, but not for this movie. This movie,
Okay. I hope that was that to your standard, sir? Was that good enough for you?
I think it's all right. We can do it.
Welcome to another episode of the Cinephiles Hour. This is like the earliest we're recording following another episode. I'm actually proud of us, bro. I hope we can keep this up.
Really do it too. I think this is like 2 weeks since our last episode.
Yeah,
Uh,
actually. Yeah. And
Unfortunately, we are still at like one a month. So
I
if
mean,
we can
baby
crack
steps,
two
bro.
this week,
Heavy
that
breath.
should be
Baby steps.
that we
But we're actually joined today by special guests. I think this is the third guest that we've ever had on the Cinephiles Hour. So this is very special. You
mm,
know, I feel like one guest or two guests feel like mistakes or just here and there. But
mm.
three, like we're an episode that has guests. You know?
We're a show where like we have people come on.
Yeah.
We have people come on. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miss Ghana.
Hey.
Ooh.
We need them soundboards. Yeah. Welcome, Miss Ghana. We love having you on the pod. You've been an avid listener and a very good friend. I think we watched The Critic and something else together, but like we talk
Oh
about
yeah,
it often.
yeah. I forgot what movie we watched.
It was something
I
that
think
was
same.
horrible. Something on Tubi that was Tubi original that was horrible. I remember that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the Witcher.
I don't remember what it was called, but
It
it had Peter Dinklage and it was horrible.
was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter
But
Dinklage. Oh, I think I know what you guys are talking. Was he?
the
Did he?
Western thing.
The
Oh
what?
my god.
Oh, never mind. It was a Western.
Oh, okay. No.
Yeah, I think it's the Thinkless or
Thicket.
Thinkless
The Thicket.
The
Thicket.
Thicket.
Oh,
Okay, you talked
oh,
about that a little bit. Yeah.
horrible film.
But yeah,
Horrible film.
regardless of that horrible movie, it's great to have a friend actually on the pod. It's very different from
Yay.
what we've had. Um, and I think you're our first black woman on the pod.
Let's go. We out here.
We out here,
Representation. That's what it's about.
Yes.
doing our big one out here. Yeah. Now,
So,
how do you feel? How do you feel being on the TCA?
I'm excited. A long time waiting, when you
Mhm.
told me about the pod the first time we interacted, we talked about Diddy and we told me about the pod and I was like, yes, 100% gonna be a listener. And then when you brought up the fact of guests, I was like, this is so exciting. I was like, it's a moment right here. So
Love,
excited to be here.
love that.
for the record, she's not talking about Diddy as in the rapper because that was
Oh
my first
no,
thought.
it's
We are
the movie.
talking about the movie Diddy, the idea. We do not endorse that person on
Mhm.
here, okay?
You want to know our true feelings about Diddy? I believe that is episode 12. So go back, go listen. Great movie. Go
Yeah.
watch as well because I think it's on digital as well. So
Yeah, it's on Prime.
yeah, it's on Prime. All the good stuff is on Prime, to be honest with you. But we got another episode about something amazing. Drum roll, drum roll. Steve, what are we doing?
Today we're doing the Sean Baker. You heard it here first. Your next best picture, classic, instant classic, ANORA. It's the independent from Neon from Sean Baker. It's a film set in New York City about it's sort of an American Russian film, but it's not like it's an American film, but uses the Russian language heavily. Set in New York City about a sex worker slash exotic dancer. I believe that's what they're called these days. In one of the super fancy nightclubs in New York, who runs into the son of a Russian oligarch, and sequence of fortunate slash unfortunate events. And you know me, I love a good immigrant story. So this quickly becomes an immigrant story where even like an immigrant arranged marriage, not arranged, but like a green card marriage happens, and it just unravels and unravels, and we're going to talk
I
about some
tell
of
you
that.
what happened. My brother's I-20 was expiring and he had problems.
He's looking for solution.
Yeah, she came in with
and
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, and we follow the film as it unravels. and that's pretty much what it's about. There's no I don't think there's like a overt, obviously like the subtext and context resolution, but I don't think there's an overt like, which is typical with Sean Baker's films. There's no goal that the film is going to ultimately. It's really just things happening, and we're watching it happen and unravel until it just like crescendos in some super somber climax, I guess.
Okay, so I do have a couple of things. I think one, yeah, I love those movies. I love that you said it's like probably the next best picture, because I genuinely think out of the last couple of best picture films,
Hmm.
it's it's the one that least felt like they wanted it to win an award.
Yes, Oscar Bay. It's
It
not
was
Oscar
the
Bay.
Yeah.
Oscar film that I've watched in a minute.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, this is great. It's a classic Cinderella story, um, but and it's like, yeah, he is the son of an oligarch, so he's essentially a prince.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great fucking film. I feel like the biggest praise I can give right now is that I would rewatch it, and I
Yes, bro. Uh-huh.
But would you rewatch it so soon? That's my question.
absolutely.
Okay.
I
I feel,
wanna I wanna go see it.
I want to go see it again. Like
Yeah.
it was so funny, and
It was
I walked in not expecting it to be funny.
at all. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, but I think someone said that. I know you hate Sean Baker, but someone said Sean Baker is to sex workers what Scorsese is to gangsters. That's it. Because
that is pretty funny. Yeah.
the PR and humanization, I love it. The
Hmm.
content, it's just consistently good movies. And like, yeah, there's been movies about sex workers for time, but like, have they all been as good as these have been? Yeah, yeah, this is
No. Yeah.
amazing.
S-
Yeah.
l- because you brought that up, let's talk Sean Baker for a second. So I think I've seen Red Rocket and I've seen the Florida Project.
Mm,
Um, I felt like I did not like those films, and hence why I'm a Sean Baker hater. But not because I thought it wasn't good filmmaking. I think it's somewhat excellent filmmaking. I just feel like his morally, I've always found his moral compass broken from his films. Like, I've always felt this man has to have the worst ethics as a person. And he's showing that, he's translating that on screen. Take, for example, Red Rocket, which is about like the porn star guy
mhm,
who in like South Texas or something, where he's living in some woman's drug dealer's house and is helping her push drugs and whatever, and eventually like meets this girl who's clearly presents like she looks very underage, but she's not. She's legal, and he makes a point to ask for her ID or ask for some identification to just prove that she's legal in there, even though she looks like a child. And most of the, if you look up the cast for Red Rocket, bro, most of them that's their only film. So it just feels like Sean Baker walks around Texas, finds a bunch of random people and puts them on screen, gives them a platform to just fucking act out a twisted way of subverting the age of consent. Like that's what Red Rocket felt like to me. And then Florida Project, which was even better filmmaking. Like I was put in a trance for that film. I think I sat down to, when you put something on just to eat, and then you're watching it, and then after you're done eating, you kind of like pause it and do what you were doing again. I
mm.
sat down and I sat through the entire film because I was like in somewhat of a trance because it was really, really good filmmaking. But I don't know, man. Those kids, because the girl and her friend, they lived next door, and they were having to watch their moms, who were also exotic dancers, just do drugs in front of them and fuck people while they hid in the bathroom. I'm just like, I don't think this is good. Like this feels morally bankrupt, bro. Like the kids are right there, and we're showing them from all angles while they're taking a shower and all of that. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It feels like we shouldn't. Some people that should belong on some public registry, we shouldn't be giving them a platform to make fucking like movies that are these good. You know what I mean? So I've always been a Sean Baker hater.
I
Um,
think it fit though. It fit with this movie, like the him picking random people and just
mhm,
putting them in the movie. Like the funniness of this movie was not like on intention. They just were like acting how they would in real life, and
mhm.
it just turned out to be like hysterical and funny to a point where it's like you can't be serious. You can't be doing this and saying these things and think it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I was crying laughing watching this movie. It was a really really good movie. I
It
was
was
like,
genuinely insane.
yo,
It was
Hmm.
genuinely insane. I think one of my favorite scenes is the baptism scene with tourists. Like that quiet, no. Man,
it's so funny.
I
Yeah.
I think I really like Sean Baker's films, and I would say it is. I can okay. So Steve, I pose a question to you about Sean Baker's movies, and in regards to another set of directors that you like. So why do you disapprove so heavily of Sean Baker's film style, filmmaking, and storytelling, whereas you like praise the Safdie brothers with their insane levels of like moral bankruptness?
I don't think the Safdies are morally bankrupt. I think the Safdies have a knack for character study. That's one. And I think they're showing, like, they don't, it doesn't feel like they're crossing, how do I put this? Like, playing around with sexual abuse or sexual, like, it doesn't look like they're toying with anything that could be misconstrued as sexual abuse, right? Here, in all his films, you can make a case for someone having sex that is either very transactional, which they wouldn't be doing if they had their own way. Like, I'm not saying like I disapprove of sex work or think sex work is like sex abuse or anything, but it just feels like in Anora, for example, when one of the dancers is giving a lap dance, she's like, "Okay, put your hand like under." She makes him sit on his arm so he doesn't like touch her um, inappropriately because that has happened to her in the past. Obviously, that's not spoken, that's not said overtly, but that has happened. Or she's telling someone that he has rape eyes because obviously she has dealt with enough creeps to know what rape eyes look like in fucking what do you call it? Red Rocket, the porn star guy, he's meets this girl who's like, and he's trying to like help her out or whatever. Obviously she wants to have sex, but it's just very much given she wouldn't be doing this if she had her own way. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but the Safdies don't do that. I think it's just more character study and looking into human relationships.
I would disagree. I would say
Okay.
Safdies. Okay, so I see a bit more of what your problem is. Your issue is the nuances around the sexual relationships. I
Yes.
want to put like a little bit of like a notice to the side for that sitting on your hands thing. Okay, so I feel like that's a pretty common strip club practice.
Yeah.
That
No.
so that
Wait,
you
wait,
don't.
wait, wait, wait. You both be entertaining? You both be going strip club?
Nobody said that.
No,
Both?
no,
Nobody said
that, like,
that's just
but
the rule.
it just is. I don't know. Just based on I guess like logic putting to it.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a common strip
You
club
can
practice.
infer, yeah.
It's like when you go out to like certain malls or certain stores and they're like, "Hey, we don't want your backpacks."
Okay.
You get me? Like,
Okay.
check your backpack
Sure.
to the side.
Let's equate those two. Sure. Go on.
I mean, I mean, let's not do that. But I think on the other side, the Safdie brothers, like they have a man, the level of the vices that they pose, plus like some of the moral questions that they almost justify,
Hmm.
the level of violence, the level of sometimes you could even make a case that they might be a little ableist because someone disabled is always getting some short end of the stick in the Safdie
Yeah.
brother.
Okay.
It's kind of wild. So I'm not out here saying they're morally bankrupt. I'm just saying it is a story, it is a film, and I understand your problem with like the guess like the nuances with like the age and the way they look and the depiction of like the sexual situations, but I feel like these are very real stories and very real situations that are being depicted that many
Hmm.
people, not even some, not a few, but
Hmm.
many people are in this situation. I feel and are exposed to these things. I think also,
Hmm.
I don't remember, I can't quote studies right now bar for bar, but there were a couple of studies in grad school that we talked about that, and this was like a shock to me. So I used to think the average age for a person's an American's first sexual experience was around 15, but
Hmm.
apparently that is in suburban areas. In urban areas, it's around 12. So that's your first sexual experience.
Yeah.
Now, if we talk about the age that you are exposed to something sexual, we can
That's earlier.
probably go back by like
Hmm.
a couple years. So I don't think it's necessarily like taboo, some of the
Yeah.
things going on. I
Yeah.
just think he's depicting a reality that is not as familiar to you, and you
Okay.
don't, I don't want to say approve, but you're just like, hey, we need to safeguard people a little bit,
You know
which makes
that you know that gif of Jay-Z listening to someone play music and he's like vibes bumping his head and then he looks up and he's like, that's how I feel. It's not like I disapprove necessarily. I'm going to enjoy it because like I've said, like I enjoy his filmmaking style. But I guess somewhere to your right, I don't necessarily approve it. I just feel like he would be on a registry. If he was a normal person, he would be on the sex registry. That's how I feel. And so I struggle to fully
I
appreciate the
definitely,
stories.
yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying because I think for me too, I just don't enjoy seeing it, but somebody has to tell the story.
Yeah,
So like it's unfamiliar and like kind of uncanny for us to see it just because it's not in our normal life and we
hmm,
don't experience these things. But to somebody to just watch Nora and laugh about like the situation that happened is like it is enjoyable. It's not just you're not watching a movie that's like traumatic about like an escort or a
yeah,
prostitute or a sex worker. It's more so a funny story that turned into a sad story that turned into so many emotions can be evoked by this
yeah,
film. So I think it's good that somebody's telling the story.
yeah.
Um, did it feel uncomfortable for me to watch the first hour? I was sitting there like, what's going on? Like, I was like,
Yeah,
okay, but like, I understood it when I was done with the movie. I was like, it actually makes sense. I'm glad I watched it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I
mean,
think.
let's just wait. I just want to say something about that part where you said it actually made sense. I was following until the very fucking end, like that last like 5 minutes of the film. I was like, what
Hmm.
are we doing here?
I
What's going on? Because
we'll talk about that one because
Michael Igor was like a great person throughout. You rebuffed. Cool. All of a sudden, you wanna. I'm like, okay.
but that's the we'll talk about this one. But that's the that I feel like I'm the reverse. Like I was on the edge of my seat, like what is going to happen? And then when we get to that scene, I'm like perfect. Like it only became a five for me at that scene, like in that scene right
yeah.
there.
I
But
think the thing was
yeah,
good.
I want to wrap up the Sean Baker part. On the flip side, so I said Red Rocket, Florida Project struggled with them, but on the flip side, I think he's mature. Like he's already grown. Like he's a mature filmmaker, but I think he hits a new level of maturity with Anora, where he's not just making films centered around sex or sex work, or having that be obviously like he's still going to show his lead heroine being fucked. Like that's not going to change for him, but he's giving her depth. Like he's giving her more in Anora. Like I don't know if that's credit to Mickey Madison or I don't know if that's credit to Sean's growth. I like to think of Sean's growth, but in Anora, he does this thing that he doesn't really do where he's like towing the line. His flirting with the idea of this being a comedy, but it's not a comedy. He's flirting with the line occasionally of it being a romance story, but it's not fully a romance story. There's some scenes that he's flirting the line of it being a thriller. Like there's some very thrilling scenes, but it's not a thriller, obviously. Like the scenes where for a second you could think it's he wants this to be a romance story. Obviously, it's not a fucking romance story, but the scenes where it could. So I think he does this thing where he's making the full film and he's like towing the line. He's edging you almost, like getting you there. You laugh in this scene, and then in a second you're not laughing anymore because stuff is going down, and then you're like almost cry. The girl beside me was crying for one of the scenes, and I'm
Oh,
like, yeah,
that's weak.
it was towards the end. It was um, the scene where he calls her, where Ivan calls her an escort. He was like, when he's like, oh, I fucking married an escort, so big deal. Like, why are you
Ooh,
making such a big deal?
yeah,
Yeah, like the camera goes zooms in on, like, after he says it. I don't know if it's a split diopter or whatever, but they go to her face, and you can see, like, that's when realization sets in that.
No, because yeah, she had. I feel like for a good amount of the film, like we're well, she's operating on like an interesting level of delusion because I'm gonna
Sorry,
tell you,
that's not funny.
I,
That's not funny.
I
Sorry.
felt so no, like because I don't think it's like I don't think it's like a harmful delusion. I don't think anyone did anything to her. I think it's just her and
Hmm.
her view. And again, it's a Cinderella story. She wanted her prince, or more importantly, I feel like she just wanted to be saved from her life. But you,
Um, mm,
you disagree? What
yeah.
I'm gonna say before we get into your point is uh two things. Well, Taurus has been in every Sean Baker movie. Yeah,
Soros,
Taurus. The bad.
the bad like the villain, essentially.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I won't call him a villain, but he's been in every Sean Baker movie, and love him. Love that I could like. I was like, oh, because we talked about before Nora. Me and you
Hmm.
talked about Florida Project, and I went to go rewatch that. I didn't
Hmm.
rewatch Rocket, but I was like, oh, I see you, and I really like how I think majority of like the lead actors were actually Russian.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that a lot,
They
actually.
were Russian actors, especially like Igor is an established Russian actor,
Hmm.
and yeah, so that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And with what you said about like Sean Baker walking around Texas picking people up or just like shooting people, I'm just like, please, he needs to show me where he picked up Mickey
Uh,
Madison. He needs
I
to
need to.
her.
I want to hear Miss Gana's point before we get into Mickey, though. I want to hear what you were going to say.
Of
But I
course,
have
that,
some things to say about Mickey.
I have nothing to say about Mickey actually.
wild, but approved. Opinions are valid. Opinions are opinions. They don't.
I think we'll save it for another day.
Of course.
Okay.
But let's hear
Um,
what you want to say about
you were
Taurus.
going to this. Yeah, you were going to disagree with him.
I think it's not delusion or that she had or she experienced, and I think it's not her wanting to be saved from the life that she had,
Mhm.
because we don't really see her like feeling like she's bad, like she's feeling bad about her lifestyle.
Mhm.
Like prior to meeting him, she was just living it, and she just happened to run into him. I don't think it's she just likes money. I think that's what it is. And she saw that he had money, and she thought that he liked her, and she was like, "Okay, cool. Like let's see how it goes." And then that's when like you see her in Vegas with him, and he keeps saying, let's get married, and she like, "Stop playing with me." She kept saying it over and over again because
Yeah.
she was not led by delusion, because if she was, she'd be like, "Yeah, of course, let's get married." But he was filled with delusion, and he didn't like think for a minute about like his parents and the consequences of the relationship that he had with her
Hmm.
based on how much he liked her, um, which led to how the story ended. But I don't think she was really delusional. I think she started believing him after the marriage, and she kind of like trust in him, and he kind of failed her, and you see that like on many levels, him just leaving her and running away, and then the plane situation, and then him ignoring her. Like it's so many levels of disrespect and just distrust that she had to face. And then you see the ending, and it's like really emotional because of what she had to go through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really don't think it's delusion or
I
her.
Can I
I
rebut?
think I think I agree with you guys. Let me just before you. I think I agree with both of you in the sense that, like, I don't think she was looking for a knight in shining armor. Like, I don't think she was looking to be saved because, like you said, we don't really get to see much of that. But even the little bit that we do get to see, it doesn't look like she's helpless or she's waiting for someone to come save her. It looks like she's just living life, and then she likes money, so she sees the opportunity to make more money, so she jumps at it. But I do think she was a little bit delusional. Maybe not at first, but um, like when you know the whole fight thing is going down, um, the delusional aspect comes from her thinking what they have is somewhat real, or there's some realness to what they have,
Yeah.
right? And thinking, when I find him, I want to talk to him first. I want to get, because she thinks like she's going to be able to get through to him.
Yeah.
And when they go to the courthouse, she's like trying to talk to him. She's like, yo, I can get through to him. Like, tell them it's a lie. Tell them, like, we're actually not going through with this, blah, 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 blah. And the divorce, like, it would have gotten annulled there if they had married in New York. Like, the only reason why the annulment didn't work was because it was in Vegas. And even when they're going to Vegas, she's still hoping that he's going to, put some sense. You say it's trust, like she trusted him, which I guess, sure, fine. Like, I'm not going to say that anyone that's trusting is delusional, but in this case, it was delusion, because the reason why he wanted to get married was for the green card. The reason why he liked her and was attracted to her was for like completely sexual, transactional reasons. Her, like, the idea of trust coming in is a delusion, and that we see that in real time when he calls her an escort, and that's when clarity sets in and she realizes that this was never more than this. You know what I mean? So that's the aspect. I don't think before that she was delusional. She knew what she was getting into, but post the marriage, trust, delusion.
Post the wedding, yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
It's definitely giving pick me, love me, choose me, which
And I think that is kind of like where the core of my argument about it being delusion comes into play. Like, I
Yeah.
agree with some parts of what Steve said. I definitely don't agree with. I think a lot of it was real. I feel like
Hmm.
the intimacy shared was real, and kind of just feeling special and prioritized is a very great feeling. She enjoyed it. Um, from what we could see, they're not exactly balling at home. She couldn't pick up milk. Like, like, for someone to wake you up out of sleep
no,
about milk.
He forgot
she
to pick up
she
milk
couldn't
aside.
afford
Listen,
it, or she didn't want to pick it up.
also, there were multiple, there were like a couple of times she would literally go somewhere, or they'd make a comment. She'd make a comment about where someone is living, even Igor. So I'm just saying, I do not think she was particularly in a great situation, but I'm not saying at the same time that she was out here searching for someone to save her. I think, simply like Cinderella, the opportunity presented itself,
She
and
went with it.
yeah, she's like, all right,
I
let's.
mean, that's
And I completely agree with you, Miss Ghana. She's like, hey, don't play with me when he's proposing the marriage,
Yeah.
because this
Hmm.
is insane, of course. But it really, like, you can see the logic is pushing off. There's a fight. First of all, that whole Vegas impromptu trip with drugs and people you don't know, very interesting
I
decision.
mean, yeah.
But you're not there for her decision making. We're just seeing that the logic is eroding very slowly. Then she gets married to him, and they come, and they are consistently telling her, hey, this can't happen. Here are the reasons why. Taurus, I think almost everyone tries to reason with her. With
Yeah.
Right.
Before things get, honestly, they didn't even get. She became violent. They didn't get violent, which is
Yeah.
like another interesting twist to things, and could also be seen as like a physical response to like someone trying to like break the delusion.
Did
Well,
she get violent, or did they stop her? They said you can't leave.
my boy's neck and like broke my other boy's. No,
This is where I disagree.
fair enough. He was detained, but I want
She
to.
was gonna leave,
I
and
want
they tied her down.
It's like, well, she had already hurt my boy before that happened. She like literally started breaking things and like throwing like the lamp and the plates at him. But I'm gonna get back. We'll get back to that. So I think very much so. What happened was also that, like, in the next couple of scenes, like over the next 2 days, literally 2 days, they and multiple people are telling her, "Hey, well, yeah, multiple people are telling her like this can't happen for
Hmm.
these reasons." And she's like, no, this is my husband. I'm staying with him. I'm choosing him. He did not choose you. He ran away. Yes, the betrayal of trust was there, but I don't believe, well, to us, the audience, and clearly what was portrayed by Igor, and also we all know he's immature. We all
I mean,
know,
he's a
even
teen.
like
You
those
mean
very,
Ivan?
Yeah, Ivan. My bad, Ivan.
Yeah.
There was very little to like about Ivan, and I feel like they portray this pretty well outside of his money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Even his
agree.
friends did not know where he was. Like that shows the test of their friendship, the level of friendship that they had. And I
Yeah.
think one of my favorite conversations about like the whole thing was, I think Taurus was like, "How long have you known him? Like 6 months, 3 months? I don't remember how long they said, but it was like
Yeah.
in my head, I was like, wait, yeah, that's actually true because that's
That's
also like
wild. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
basic immigration. Like, let's say the marriage took place, it's immediately red flagged.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's 18 and she's 23.
Yeah,
Does she know better than him? Yeah. Um, should she have been a little bit?
Wait,
I
who's
don't know.
18 and who's 23?
Yeah, he was like
Uh,
18 or 19.
she's 23.
He's 23.
Anora's 23 and
Okay.
Ivan is 18.
Mhm.
No, it's
Yeah,
like
Yeah, he's
no,
18.
it's like 20, 21, and 25.
No, he's
No, he guessed that she was 23 and she was
no.
like,
He guessed that she was 25,
yeah, he guessed that she was 25.
and then she turned and he was
"Oh,
like, I'm 18.
oh,
Yeah.
okay."
Yes, 23. Okay, so Vanya is 21. Sorry,
Yeah,
Oh,
he's 21 and she's 25.
why?
3. No, it's 21 and she's 23.
Okay.
Okay.
Does she guess he was
Which makes sense
18?
because if you think about it, like a lot of international students come to America at 17. And if he's leaving, I'm guessing
Hmm.
like OPT, I-20 is done and he's going back home to work for his dad. He doesn't need to do OPT here. So he's 23.
I hate that we can
Oh.
relate to that aspect of this film, man, but sorry, carry on.
He's 21, my bad. Yeah, we can do the math. Like, do
I hate that we could do that, bro.
the math. Like, it's kind of funny. But yeah, I do think like there was like quite a bit of delusion. Shout out to her. She was given the short end of the stick and did not. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. That nigga's like the amount of money he spent and gave
Don't do
her.
that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just saying, if she clocked in and was like, "This is gonna be an experience," she could have even kept that coat at the end.
Oh my god.
Coat at the end.
Women are more than money, bro.
A scarf. She just threw it, and I was like, "Girl, what's going on?"
The house. She could have filled up her suitcase with more
I
stuff.
was, I was okay. There was, I don't know. This would be like a spoiler. It's not even a spoiler. I wish that when she returned at the house, that she broke everything, everything, and Igor just lets her, and then she just walks away. It would have been like a good ending in my head. I was like
Yeah.
thinking it. I was like,
Yeah,
wow, that would have been
I feel like that would have been an A24 ending, not a shot,
fair.
a neon ending. You know how? Yeah, not a
Fair.
neon ending.
Since we're talking of that scene, how did we feel about the ending of the film? So, like I said when I gave my brief intro, I think Sean Baker has a knack for taking a bunch of things happening and stories unraveling or whatever, and then concluding with a very sombering end slash climax slash conclusion, whatever. And I don't think he's ever done it as well as this. But okay, so we're going through the film and we're seeing the relationship between her and Igor. I think at times, like at very, very rare times, it comes up as, oh, this man is has a very paternal vibe towards her. You know, like this character genuinely seems like he's a gangster because he's good at being a gangster, but he doesn't like. It seems like his moral compass is in check and all of that. Like when she's cold, he's giving her what the scarf, and he's offering it to her, and she's refusing. Or when the brothers broke his nose or whatever, he's like he went back home to get the payments, and then he eventually give it to her, and all of that. Like it just seems like a level-headed guy that is just doing this because he doesn't have other options. Um, I don't think we ever get. I could be wrong, but I don't think we ever get any sexual vibe or sexual read from him. You know, leading up to that.
No.
But I think his character arc starts to turn when he just gets up as you're about to head off the private jet, and he's like, "Apologize to her." I think Ivan should apologize to her. I felt like that struck me. I'm like, okay, what is Sean trying to do with this character here? Because why is he talking to the mom like this. And even his brother and Taurus were like, "What are you doing right now? Like, shut up." And I think Taurus told him to shut up, even.
Yeah.
And the dad's Toro is a professional
Let's
dick rider.
for Torres, bro. This
What?
was
What?
a long day for him.
Yeah, bro. And like the dad, like Ivan's dad, starts laughing hysterically, and the mom and Igor kind of going back and forth. And with each statement, he's even laughing more hysterically. So I wasn't too sure what Sean was trying to
No,
do
no,
here.
it wasn't.
No,
It
that-
wasn't Igor's statement that he was
It was
laughing, but
Anora calling him a
it
bitch.
was yeah, Anora calling. What did she say? She
I,
said like,
I think she called him
She
a
called him,
bitch.
she called him pathetic.
yeah,
No,
she
she called him like a pathetic bitch or something like that.
yeah, she was like, yeah, I wouldn't be married to a pathetic dad. I was like, yo, and then his dad started laughing, and then
Are you
hysterical.
sure it wasn't
Yeah,
It wasn't
the
you.
mom?
it wasn't no.
Oh, was that in the lawyers? Like after the marriage thing had been
Yeah, after she
okay,
signed document.
okay, and she threw. That was when she threw the coat at her, and
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
when he climaxed in his laugh. Okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
But that's when. That's also when Igor told him to apologize. Before
Yeah,
all of
I
that.
think
Yes,
in
like
that moment,
Yeah,
it didn't feel romantic. At least in my
yeah.
end,
That's
it felt like he was a big brother to her. He
okay.
was just being like there, seeing the situation that she's been through
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from the start, from meeting her sitting on the couch and being distant
Hmm.
and just looking at her, not saying
Hmm.
a word, leading up to the moment where he says to her like
Yeah,
you should
yeah,
apologize. I
yeah,
think it felt like a big brother, like a friend that wants to like hug you or like keep
yeah,
you safe.
yeah.
Um and you see that by him also in the car giving her the thing that he gave her. I don't want to spoil it. And that was
It's
really
fine.
kind.
Yeah.
So I think it was weird how she kind of the ending happened because I was like, I think she was trying to hide what she was feeling and hide and like over confine. Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, but I
Yeah.
will do it like in this sexual manner, and it
Yeah.
was interesting. But I think it was a cry for like this happened to me,
Mm.
and it was a good ending because you
It
get
was a
to see
great
it.
ending. That's how I felt. I think I'm going to build up on what you've said. So I was going to talk about the scene the night before we get to the final scene. Like the night before, did you guys think, or did you get a read that she wanted something sexual to happen, or he wanted something sexual to happen, or they were just
I think for me at
taking
no
a break from the rest of from the chaotic day that they had had?
I think for me at no point
Okay.
because I feel like Igor was just a very good goon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He came here to do his job.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like he was a little bit kind. Like he tried to like reduce the violence that was done. Because we can see that he can dish out violence,
Yeah.
but
Bro.
he's like very restrained, and he never, yeah, never any unnecessary violence.
Okay.
Um, and I really enjoyed a lot of like Ms. Garner said, a lot of the Big Brother moments. I
Yeah.
think they happened even prior to that, like when they were walking in the cold that night, and she's like,
Cold.
he was had the scarf
Yeah.
that he initially used to tie her up. But like at multiple times, like, hey, are you okay? And yeah, she's like, no, why would I tell you? Like, and he even
Yeah.
tried to apologize for the violence when they first get in the car.
And he calls her
Mhm.
the she calls him the F word.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
she
Or
called him F word at dinner.
Brunch. Yeah. Or yeah,
a couple of
dinner.
times. Couple of times.
Yeah.
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 And then I think I didn't think of anything sexual because she called him an F word. I'm
Yeah.
like, girl, you don't expect this man to sleep with you now, right? Like,
Exactly. Exactly. And I think
I'm
that
like, interesting. Like, like you're gonna insult a man, like, but like that's too far. You know what I mean?
that's a little much.
I think the reason I asked that question is because for a second when she stands up to go up the stairs, she's like, you have rape eyes. I feel like you would have raped me if no one was there or whatever. And he's like, I don't. And then she's like, why wouldn't you? Like, who asks if someone says they wouldn't rape you? Who follows up with, why wouldn't you rape me? Like, I don't. I'm not saying that she wanted to have. I don't think she wanted to have sex with him because she
I
hadn't
think
looked
it
at
was
him in that
bait.
light either. You think it was bait for what?
I don't know, but it was bait. Maybe she wanted to see um if he had the like I don't know what it is, the violence, or I think if I would kind of infer that if you're working in the industry of
Mm-hmm.
prostitution and like
Sex work.
escorting and sex work, you know, men or like any other gender or sexual
Mm-hmm.
orientation kind of want to be superior of you. So when you're baiting them, like they can just punch over you and just be like, "What'd you say?" I think she just wanted to see if anger could come out of him or like if he would
Okay.
do anything about it.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
I think very much so. I think, yeah, I would, I don't know why. I wouldn't call it bait initially, but I feel like that's a good way to
Put it.
like put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, in that situation, like, why is there? I don't think it's like she's confused about the amount of kindness he's showing, but I think it's kind of a way for her to fight back in a situation that she's not really like, like fuck you, you know. And it's a bit of
Yeah.
at the same time because the amount of times like she also used the F word, and like at one point she uses that to justify him not wanting to rape her.
Yeah. Exactly. In that, yes, that's what she says. Yeah.
I think it's also like a bit of banter, even
Okay.
down to the rape eyes comment. I think it's like
Crazy Bantasha.
crazy hunter. Yeah, like
it is, but like at the same time, I think it's just like banter. I think it's just like, well, what else is gonna happen here?
right,
Yeah.
right.
So I think it was really, really good, and this is
Yeah.
kind of that moment plus like the cigarette thing that he did, all very like big points of intimacy for them. So it then points to, hey, we've cut off romantic intimacy. We've very much cemented friendship and banter as like our points, and we're probably not going to see each other anymore. So that's why I was like, hey, fuck is going on?
Yeah. So the final scene, why I keep saying like the film did not hit for me until then, was because I felt like the entire runtime she had been on go, like on go mode, either like with dancing or with having sex or with fighting or looking for this man or trying to get through to this man or, you know, she was basically going through the five stages of grief even before she had anything to grieve. Like, but I think in that moment, you know, she's obviously very, very shocked. Like, first of all, we pull up to the house. She's sitting in the house, like, realization that she's, like, you know, this fairy tale, this whirlwind of romance is come to an end. And she looks out the window. It's like snowing or whatever. Looks back at the house, looks back in. He helps her with the stuff and all of that, takes it up. She's still looking, not getting out the car yet because this is it. So now she walks out the car. It's done. Finito. Gets back in, gives her the ring, blah, blah, blah. I think I think Miss Ghana may have alluded to this earlier on, but oh, maybe it was you. But the sex was my initial like understanding of it is when she's at work and someone gives her money, she's going to respond with sex dance or whatever. And they have been having, you know, back and forth banter like you just called it. It's not like he paid for sex with the ring. I'm not that's not what I'm saying, but it's almost like I don't want to call it reflex, but it's almost like personal to her, intuition to her.
What you're saying? So like she reciprocated like his kind,
Yes.
like
Like this is a really nice thing that this man has
the
done
only
for
way
me.
that she's like,
That she knows, that
you
she's
know,
come to know. Yeah. That's her
She
way.
doesn't know how to
That's
say thank you. The way
yeah,
she knows how to say it
is to give that,
that's
right?
her intention.
But then and I'm like, okay, I guess like there's no growth for the character. Sean Baker has fucked up again. Like he's just shown us a story. So that's what I'm saying. Like I felt like another Sean Baker film where he's just seeing women as nothing more than transactional, you know, that. But then I guess Igor is obviously very taken aback. Igor is the funniest character in this film,
he's
bro.
funny as
The funniest guy in this film.
I would say he's not the funniest, but he is funny. Um,
He's hilarious, man. But anyway, like she's like all of that's happening, and I guess he like cups her face, and he tries to kiss her, and then you see her struggling back, like pulling back. And he's like trying to pull her face closer, and she's pulling back, and then she starts hitting him, and then she starts crying. And I think like the reason why like that in that moment she felt seen, and she felt like he didn't like he wanted the sex thing was more so what she wanted, or more so her way of thanking him. Not that he wanted that, but he really just wanted some form of intimacy that didn't involve whatever that was. Like that's why he was pulling her in, and obviously it was a release as well, given the terrible week that she just had, and so she needed a cry like any fucking person would in that situation, and she's had to put on the front or a face, whatever, and so that was much needed release. But I also think like it's because she felt seen and she felt like a human being in that moment, which I don't think Sean Baker has ever made any of his characters feel like. So that's why I personally
It
liked
just
it.
worked. Like it just worked. I think it would have not worked in other situations, but this time it just worked. And it made sense. As an audience, you can put two and two together and have like a critical moment of summarizing what happened and infer like she might have felt this, she might have felt that. So I think it just worked. A lot of this film is like pieces just came together by luck. And to be honest, I don't think a lot of the things that happen to be funny or like romantic and stuff were planned. It just
Hmm.
happened to be funny. I feel like you can't put like an American person into a film and force them to do a Russian accent and say some things that they would say like touche tous, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's very much like it just happened to work.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I think it was definitely amazing. I really love how like just most of it was unexpected. Well, yeah, most of it was unexpected. I did expect a film about a sex worker, but I don't know. It was just that, and it was great. It was a really good movie. So what would you guys rate it?
I mean, Steve said 5, so that's already done.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. I'm sorry. 10 out of 10.
We're doing out of 10. Okay, I
Yeah.
think for me,
And chat.
9.5, 10. I'll say 10. I'll say 10.
Oof, okay. Surprisingly enough, I would give it a 9.
Okay.
A
Care
9.
I
care
know,
to, care to elaborate?
because like the ending still doesn't make sense to me,
And
despite
that's okay. I
despite
think,
no, I get it. I just wish like something else happened, and I'm like it was great. I was raving about it. I would go watch it again. I Is it the best movie I've watched this year? Definitely in my top 4.
yeah.
But I would just say like I was a little like aghast. You get me? Like I like the cry. I like what happened with the ring. Shout out to her. Shout out to Igor. But my name is over here like, how does this equals clapping cheeks?
Oh, please.
Like,
Please.
see, man, it's cathartic and all of that. It's been a
Bro.
like the husband. But bro,
That is a top one funny statement you made on this one.
bro, and I think honestly, my man is confused. He's as confused as fucking me.
Oh my god.
But that's I think
And he
the the
in for a
whole
kiss, and
point.
she's now like, I'm not gonna lie. If I try to pull a girl in for a kiss and she starts crying, I'm gonna think I'm the ugliest person out here, bro.
I
Like,
feel
she
like the
got
whole
nothing
point
on me.
the whole point of storytelling is sometimes you just have to be okay, because I feel like
We
yeah,
can
you have
accept their
something in your
choices.
mind.
No, I get what you're trying to tell me. We can accept their choices, but still disagree.
What
Oh
would have been a better
god.
ending? I feel like we need to have this conversation. Like,
We're probably gonna have another conversation.
yeah,
But
100%.
yeah, this has been a
Christ.
great episode. Um,
So overall, so an average, let's say like
yeah, I think on average I put it down like, but just by like a tiny bit. It's like 9.7 or something like that. Like it's. Do I
We can do
actually?
9.5 increments, so 9.5. That's fine.
Oh
it's
yeah,
crazy because you guys did. Shouldn't you guys give what was the movie? The last movie you guys
We
reviewed?
live in time.
9.5.
No, we gave it an 8.
yeah. I was like, don't
Oh
pull
yeah,
up,
Yeah.
pull up.
I
Like,
think Diddy was maybe 9.5, maybe or 9, but
It was a 10. I don't know what you're talking about. It was a 10.
yeah, I
I'm
think we gave
sorry.
Diddy like 9.5 or 9. But We Live in Time was an 8. But this I think is a 10. But I can go with 9.5.
yeah, it's yeah. I think the math is actually a 9.7. I'm so sorry. You know,
Okay.
we got the stats guy, but yeah. All right, this has been a great episode of the Cinephiles Isle. I'm really excited to have Ms. Ghana on. We
Yay.
finalized that she's going to be on for a couple more episodes. So you guys get ready.
I hope I'm on Gladiator. I'm gonna just put that out there.
I think you should
Ooh.
be a gladiator. We should be good. We should be good. You already have your tickets, right?
Yeah, I already have my
Yeah, I'm
tickets.
about to get my tickets. I'm
Ooh.
about to line out.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Y'all heard we're covering that. We're covering that on
All right,
TCA. So
gladiator. All
keep an
right.
eye out.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Till next
Yeah.
time.
Safe.
Bye.